Hi everyone, hope you're all good and welcome back to EL Cards. Today's video is going to be about Everton Football Club, and they're currently 6th in the English Premier League. They started the league or the season pretty well, to be honest. I think they were unbeaten in the first 5 games, and James Rodriguez and Calvert-Lewin were bang in form, and then just injuries, a few sending-offs, and just sort of a little bit of bad luck has seen them drop points, and now they're currently 6th. So their sort of stint at the top of the league was probably short-lived, but I do still fancy them to finish. I can't really see it being the top 4, but I can see them being back in the top 6 where they belong. They used to be a pretty solid team back in the day under Moyes, and they used to be so hard to beat, and now like their game's completely changed. They're all about maybe adding that kind of little bit of flair with the players that they've bought in, and just having a solid midfield as well with Decore and Allen. So one of the main reasons that I think they'll finish 6th is because I don't think that Jordan Pickford's a good enough goalkeeper to get them the points, or to save them the points that they need to get further up the league. That's why I just think he's too much a liability, and I don't think he should be playing for England. I just think that that's one place that they definitely need to strengthen, and maybe someone else in defence. There's just something about Pickford that he just makes too many mistakes, and he's not that good a goalkeeper, to be honest. Especially when, like in the league, you've got better goalies, like McCarthy, for instance. He's playing at Southampton, and some people might see him as like he's old and he's past it. And like, don't get me wrong, he makes mistakes as well, but I just think that when you've got someone that's meant to be England's number 1 and playing for a top 6 side, you've got to be doing better than what he's doing. So anyways, I think that he's one that they need to replace if they want to get further up that league. So anyways, enough about that. I want to talk about a few different players from Everton's team that have been doing well this season. So the first player is James Rodriguez, or James Rodriguez. So anyways, he is one of my favourite players, and ever since, I think it was the 2014 World Cup, when he kind of burst onto the scene, and he took Colombia maybe to the semi-final. He was probably the standout player in that tournament, and just one that, I don't know, there's just something about it. It's a bit like Holland, like with the orange, but just the Colombian fans all in the yellow, and it just looked like an unbelievable atmosphere. And when he was, one of his goals, I think he brought it down on his chest and he volleyed it from maybe 25 yards off the bar, and then it was definitely one of the goals of the tournament. And I was gutted that they didn't get further, but obviously their kind of luck ran out, and they came unstuck. So it was one of them that, it was a bit like maybe Wales in the Euro Championships, that they got further than they probably expected. And I do think that you do get the odd player that performs really well, but that's you can only go so far in a tournament with a few players performing, and he was definitely one of those that kind of carried that Colombian team through. And I was actually buzzing when I seen that he'd signed for Everton, because I followed him when he was at Real and Bayern Munich, where, to be honest, I don't think he got as much of a game as I thought he would have, but now he's at Everton, he should be playing every single week. His ability's a joke. He's just so good on the ball. Just has a sort of certain type of calmness about him, and he's so aware when he's on the pitch, and he is one that when I first started collecting, I wanted to collect sort of my favourite players, or players that I would be happy to have in my collection, and not just think, oh, I'm going to get him because I'm going to make this amount of money off him, or I need to spend £100 on this player to make 200 or whatever. So basically the way that I've done it is, I like him, I picked up a few used cards for a couple of pounds, so $3 or whatever. And if I don't sell them on, then I've got them in my collection and I'm pretty happy. So I'll show you a few of these cards that I've picked up just now, and there's quite a few, so you'll probably see that I'm pretty obsessed. So yeah, all of these are his cards. I think it's also just the yellow. I just love the yellow strip of Colombia, a bit like Brazil as well. So the first card of his that I bought was the Prism. It's not the silver, it's just the base. But yeah, I got that for like a couple of quid, or $3 or $4. I'm not sure of the conversion rate, so excuse me. So yeah, I really wanted to get this card because everyone bangs on about the Prism, and when I first started collecting it was all Prism, 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 so I wanted to get his. I'm glad it's not the silver, but at the same time it's still a pretty nice card. So if I was to get that graded, I would definitely just have that sitting in my collection. Because he's not one of them he's kind of had his big moves. If this was the 2014 World Cup and he'd came off the sort of tournament that he had, then you could be sort of seeing big sort of money if you bought him before the tournament. But now he's kind of been at Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, I can't really see him. He could maybe go to another team in the Premiership, or the Premier League, sorry. But yeah, you're not going to see a massive like turnaround off James Rodriguez. Just because, like I say, he's maybe dropped down that level to come to Everton. Sorry, Everton fans. But from Real Madrid to the likes of Everton, it's pretty obvious that that's maybe a step down. But I do think that his cards are really nice. Like I say, with the yellow, picked up this Donruss Optic, really nice card. It's pretty well centered as well. So that'll probably, I would like to say that would grade well. There's a couple of wee tiny little marks at the back, but hopefully PSA have maybe got too many cards that just slides under and goes in at a 9 or a 10. The Clutch Select, I think this is an insert. So you kind of have you always have your sort of base card, and then there'll also be an insert within that pack. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's kind of what happens. This one's quite hard to read though. I'm not a massive fan of this card, so I might just sell this one on. But yeah, I can't really. The back's fine, but it's just the shine on the front. You can't really make out the writing as much. It's still a nice card though. And then just his base select. I'm not sure what year that's from. 2017-18. I'm not sure if I still prefer the Prism. There's just something about the Prism that I'm not really sure if it's the sort of pattern that's in the background, or I honestly don't know. There's just something that I think looks a lot better. And then just a basic Donruss from his time at Real Madrid. Picked up for £1. It's nothing amazing, this card. It's a wee bit off centre. Quite a nice action shot. And then I don't know why, but these cards don't really like go for much on eBay, or they're not really like sought after. But I don't know why, but apart from the Prism, this is probably my second favourite card, and I've actually got a Messi and a Ronaldo. I just really like it's almost like the shine on the card. It makes it almost like 3D like in a way. So yeah, that's like my other favourite card of his. So they're my two favourites, the Prism and the Donruss Optic Dominator card. So yeah, all picked up for, like I say, £2, fairly cheap. I might be able to get another couple of quid out of them, double my money, but I'm not bothered if I don't. Like I say, he'll be in my collection for good, especially that Prism. Get that in a slab, and I might even get that one. It's not going to be worth anything, but just to even have it in a slab will look pretty cool, especially the red, with the red PSA. So yeah, that's James Rodriguez. There's not really much else I can say about him, to be honest. I think I've said enough, and I'm pretty obsessed with him, like you say, or like you've seen with all of those cards. So I'll talk about the other two cards that I've picked up. I'm not going to write, not as if I write much about anyone anyway. But yeah, they're two that I'm just looking to sell on. I'm not really that fussed about keeping them, as they're both defenders, and I always think that defenders you shouldn't really invest in, because you're not going to see much of a return. So yeah, same again, a couple of pounds. So for the two of them, actually, no money was really spent on these, but just I really wanted to see what hyper. This was my first Hyper Prism, and this was my first red, or pink. I think it's red, but I'm not sure. It might be pink. Can't really see on the back. I think it might be pink. So they're both rookie cards. Obviously, you can see both the RC logos. One of Lucas. What is it? Lucas Dean. Lucas Dean. And then Mason Holgate. So young English player, but he's not really England's, or got to make England's international team, I don't think, unless he hits some ridiculous form. But he's been on the scene for a wee while. He was in and out of the team. I don't even know if he plays now, to be honest. Like I say, I've not really done much research into him, but I just wanted to pick up the Hyper Prism. And then Lucas Dean, or Digne, whatever. That sounds shite. He's one that he's a good player, takes set pieces, and he's pretty decent at free kicks as well. So you're always looking at assists for him, and maybe picking up the odd goal, but you're not really going to see much profit from him. He's his former Barcelona man, so he's obviously played at a decent level, and he could always go back to that kind of level, 27-year-old, so he might get another move, but I wouldn't hold much hope for him. He might stay at Everton for another couple of seasons. Next player that I want to talk about is Dominic Calvert. That came out weird. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So this season he's been in ridiculous form. He's been playing for England. He's scored 2 just recently against Fulham. And yeah, he's just one of them that's finally getting his chance, and he's sort of producing the goods. So he is one that I would try and pick up, but I kind of feel like I've missed the boat on him, and now it depends on your budget. I'm a cheapskate, so I'm trying to go for the kind of cheaper cards, and his base just now, you're probably talking about $30 or something like that. And it's difficult because hindsight's a great thing, and in 5 years' time, that investment could be worthwhile. But I just, there's a lot of players throughout, like the Premier League or La Liga or kind of team like leagues like that, that can have this sort of one season that they're just in unbelievable form, and they're going to get called up to their national team, or they're going to be playing week in, week out, they're going to be on penalties, scoring assists. Just, you can always have that one season. Like, players can always have that one season. A lot of people said about Mo Salah was he done it that one season. It was everything he was hitting was a goal. It was just like a freak season. So it's one of those that, can they do it next season, next again, and if his cards were maybe $5, $10, I'd maybe pick them up, but I think $30, you're not going to see much of an increase, because you've got Kane that plays up front for England, you've then got all your young boys coming through. I struggle to see it with Calvert-Lewin. Great this season, and I hope Everton go on and win maybe the FA Cup or something like that, but I struggle to see it with him. I don't know why. There's just something that I'm not really like drawn to him as much, and maybe it is the price that is just putting me off now. So he's one that, depending on your budget, but if you've not got the budget, I would just stay away. I'm not really fussed about him. Then the next player is Moise Kean. He's one that, he's at Everton, but he's out on loan at PSG. When he first came, it was almost a bit like there was a lot of hype about him because he came from Juventus. So he was young, talented, and everyone just thought it was going to work, but for some reason it just never. And last season he got subbed on at Old Trafford for I think it was like 5 minutes, and then big Duncan Ferguson subbed him off again, and yeah, it was a strange one. But yeah, he just didn't really hit the ground running. But then now that he's at PSG, he's kind of banging in the goals alongside Mbappe, and he seems to be maybe at the right team for him. So he's on loan. He might come back to Everton, but if not, he might sign for PSG. So look out for his rookie card, and you might still be able to pick that up pretty cheap. Hopefully, maybe $10 or something. But he is one that I would probably prioritise over the likes of Calvert-Lewin, just because he's at PSG, could stay there. I think he plays for Italy, the Italian national team, so he's got that as well going into Euros. So he is one that I would prioritise, like I say, over Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And yeah, there's not really anyone else. Just last but not least, there's probably Richarlison. Just because he's Brazilian and he's been at Everton for a few seasons now. It's difficult because he is talented, but he doesn't really have that extra bit of kind of talent or flair or kind of creativity that Brazil always look in their players. So I think he might not feature for Brazil as much at major tournaments. And he has that sort of, he's got quite a temper on him that he tends to pick up bookings pretty easily and send them off. So he's a bit of a liability. A good player, but he's a bit of a liability. So So for Everton, just a quick recap. They've obviously got Carlo Ancelotti as their manager, who might be two T's. He is one that, if anyone can bring a trophy to Everton, it would be him. He's one of the best managers in the world, and I do think that he could achieve what Everton have been wanting for years. So, out of Everton, I would pick up Rodriguez just if you like him like myself. Great player, but isn't probably going to see much profit. Calvert-Lewin, pick him up if you can afford him and hope that he's not just a one-season wonder. Moise Kean, definitely pick up if he's $10 or less. Possibility of playing for PSG in Italy. And Richarlison, probably stay away from. Like I say, he's maybe not going to get the opportunity at Brazil in World Cups. And because he's sort of temperament, he's a bit of a liability. So for me, it would be James Rodriguez on a budget, stay away from Calvert-Lewin and go for Moise Kean. That would be my sort of video. So anyways, enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully this has gave you a little bit of insight into Everton and their sort of main players. If you can like, subscribe, comment, let me know your thoughts, that would be great. Check out my other videos on other teams, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks again. See you later.